Thanks for being here, and thanks for your time. My name is Ross. I'm a managing partner at SNZ Capital. So SNZ is a crypto native and community-driven investment firm. So we are the earliest backer for Ethereum since the very early days. And we invest in a lot of infrastructure, like some of the layer 2s. So it's our privilege to have the opportunity to discuss with the current layer 2 ecosystem and also the applications. So we have the first question here. Since the layer 2 solutions have been a pivotal topic throughout last year and also like this year, could each of the founders share their perspective on the current primary focus on each of the layer 2 and explain like why this is like the priority, the rationale behind it? Maybe we'll start with Tom.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Tom, executive lead at Metis L2. Yeah, some of the focus for L2 for us is why we were built, is scalability, accessibility as well, and really solve some of the challenges that L1 is facing currently, bottleneck with fees, gas fees, and yeah, those are the main challenges from our side. And of course, to really expand on decentralization and maintain that, we just decentralize our sequencer. So that's our main focus from the L2 side on Metis. Passing it along to our next guest here.
Hi there, I'm Ben from Tyco. And some of the more common themes that we actually see here at Tyco for all L2s is that people are trying to come off the training wheels, and we also need to be more decentralized. So what we're actually doing on Tyco is to try to build a based rollup. And what that basically means is that we're trying to solve a number of issues here as well. So two of those areas are that we are building a based contestable rollup, and also we are building a based booster rollup. Now, these aim to address different parts of the ecosystem whilst maintaining the Ethereum core principles of censorship resistance, permissionlessness, and security.
Hi, I'm Leona from Intmax. Intmax is a stateless ZK layer 2. I think the focus as a layer 2 space as a whole is going beyond the limitation of the blob, 4844, what we call 4844 or product uncertain. So blob is limited, blob is another type of block space, and it's kind of special type of block space. And it's still inheriting the limitation of the block space. And so right now, layers are super cheap because of the blob is less used by many people right now. And when it's crowded, it's still inheriting the limitation of the block space, so it will be it will be expensive. Then, yeah, how to go beyond the block space and using less block space is less blobs is still really important. And our stateless layer 2 is working on that. And also another focus we are having as our project is privacy. So there are a bunch of projects doing privacy, but they don't have scalability. And there are a bunch of scalability projects, but they don't have privacy. So having both scalability and privacy at the same time is our main focus from our side.
Hello, hi everyone. My name is Neil Fan. I'm a co-founder of SciSig. So SciSig is doing hardware acceleration for ZKP. Like we can support not only layer 2s, but all the ZK-related projects such as ZK Bridge, ZK coprocessor. And like our product is more on the, we try to generate the ZK proof generation in real time. Like we use a bunch of different hardware such as GPUs, or FPGAs, or even ASICs, which is still some time away, to accelerate the proof generation for different ZK projects. We are also trying to reduce the cost for the ZK proof by plugging our own GPU servers or our partners' GPU servers to reduce the current proving cost for all the ZK related projects. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Leo. YQ.
Yeah. So YQ here. founder of Aulier. So yeah, on our side, we're providing rollup as service and also real-estate rollup together with Eigenlayer. Back to the Ross question. So based on the feedback from a lot of our customers and partners, since we are launching all different like rollup stacks for them, like OP stack, Arbitrum, Orbit, Polygon CDK, and also ZK Sync, ZK stack. And yeah, it's typically what they really need at this stage is sort of like low gas fee, high throughput, and sometimes you want to customize the interior like sort of L2 or L3 for their demands. So in that case, this one word we call a lot is basically the modularity. So they want to make it as a little bit like different Legos. For example, they choose OP stack plus, like for example, EigenDA, right? And on top of that, they want to have different LRTs into their L2 or L3. So this kind of modularity is something a lot of these projects, especially gaming and social and DeFi project, if they want to launch a rollup, typically that's something they really need. And beyond that, another demand sort of we are trying to handle is sort of like they want their token as a gas token. So basically custom gas token is one of the highest demands from these projects. So so as a summary, right, one is modularity, basically combination of different rollup stack and DA. The second thing is really like more utility for their own tokens, yeah.
Thank you, Waku. Angel?
Hey guys, Angel here from Zirkit. So Zirkit is a ZK rollup, and I think today we have many great rollups building to scale Ethereum, and for Zirkit, our focus is to scale Ethereum securely. So we really spend a lot of time, spend the past 2 years doing a lot of research on rollup security. We got some Ethereum Foundation grants on that, and we prioritize security at the sequencer level, and we want to make that definitely like a definitive feature of Zirkit. And yeah, so today we are at our testnet and launching our mainnet in summer, and welcome to come build on Zirkit with native security features.
Thanks, everyone. So maybe the next question is really for all the different like layer 2s and rollups. So that's a question for Tom, Ben, Leona, and Angel. So because like we already have the existing like different like rollups, either it's a ZK rollup or optimistic rollup, but then the next question will be, how to build a whole ecosystem, right? I heard people saying there are too many like infrastructures, right? There are just less users on like different infrastructures, right? So I would like to ask you guys about what is your strategy to build your ecosystem, right? Maybe we'll start with Ben.
Yeah, sure. So in terms of building ecosystem, we at Tyco believe that it's the ecosystem and the community go hand in hand. So you can't really have one without the other. Now, with the exceeding 1 million plus members that we actually have on our Discord, we actually have a really strong community behind us, which helps to boost our ecosystem partners, along with grant systems that we actually propose for our community developers and also our ecosystem partners. In addition to all of this, one of the key elements around building ecosystem is also around, we talked about things like fragmentation of the L2s. So what we're developing in the future will be what we call our based booster rollup. This is more like a system for scaling and helping developers and applications. So what this basically means is you can deploy on L1 and execute everywhere on L2. So this is more of a way of natively scaling L1 Ethereum. So these are our real plans. And in terms of our key focuses, being fully permissionless, we're not really concentrating on any particular vertical. But what we're actually looking for and what we've actually seen is that over the past years, even when there were no L2s and just having L1s available and the high gas fees, we found that there are certain verticals like DeFi and gaming which are really, really popular. So I think that going forward to bring the next billion users on board, these are also key ecosystem partners that will enable the adoption of L2.
Gotcha. Thank you. Maybe the next goes to Tom.
Yeah, from the Meta side, I do agree with what was just shared. Community is a big part of really driving ecosystem development. Having tooling is a key part too. One of the challenges that we see is different toolings on different networks, and certain dApps from different network are not used to using certain tools or service providers, so they have to adapt. So that also creates latency and also bottleneck for them to deploy on different networks. So in terms of community tooling, a unified tooling that is usable across the board, each network, onboard different partners with different features. So that's a curve that a lot of dApp builders have to really figure out and work around. And we see that quite a bit. In terms of community, I think engaging and really incentivizing building is a key thing. Here at Metis, we have the Builder Mining Reward, which reward builders who contribute to the ecosystem, transactions, TVL, and such. We also have the Ecosystem Development Fund that we just launched, 4.6 million Metis for builders to incentivize. I think one of the key things is also really providing support for builders, is because not all builders have all the tooling or the structure to build out a project. They might be well equipped for tech, but not business and such. So having support from the foundation or internal support, advisories such as that, or council to help these teams really cultivate and build, I think is a key factor in really building that ecosystem. You need builders with business mindset, sustainability, and not just really build and just really utilize grants just to build the tech. You have to have the usability and how to maintain this runway. A lot of projects we see run dry, so they move to the next ecosystem. So I think this combination of this business, tech, and tooling that will help really drive the ecosystem for sustainability.
Got it. That makes sense. Leona?
So in my opinion, having a unique value proposition is the strategy how to make our ecosystem, in my opinion. So yeah, in our ecosystem, the priority and the core value is the statelessness, so which implies that we have our scalability and privacy at the same time. And the problem in layer 2 ecosystem as a whole is that layer 2 ecosystems are quite similar to each other right now. The way of their ecosystem building, the way of their growth their ecosystem is a quite similar way. And so having a value proposition, unique value proposition, and uniting their community with that value is more important than kind of technical hack or tactics to grow their ecosystem. So privacy is still kind of underrated, and people are a bit afraid of privacy still, but I'm pretty sure that in the future, privacy will be a precious asset and a tradable asset, which many people want to buy, pay for that. And so in that sense, statelessness don't compromise their scalability, of course, and also having that future vision of privacy. So yeah, that's basically the strategy based on the core value of Intmax.
So what about Angel?
For Circuit, I think we primarily focus on 3 points when building our ecosystem. First is, of course, security. So we've been trying to understand what are the biggest concerns for builders, and we all know that one of the biggest problems right now in DeFi is that there's always hacks, and so we've been trying to come up with ways to prevent the hacks and to protect all the user funds. And for us, that's why we build the security at sequencer level. So like projects building on Circuit, they would have the security feature basically to prevent hacks happening. And second is, like Tom mentioned, there's a lot of fragmentation right now. And we want to have day one liquidity for all users and projects. That's why we've been running this staking program. So currently, we have over 1.5 billion worth of total value staked. And most of these will be migrated to the mainnet once we launch. And thirdly, I think it's to make sure that both users and developers could be properly incentivized. And for us, we've been, running a build to earn program and also allocating like a lot of our token allocation to these incentive programs. So yeah, that's basically our approach.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Then the next question goes to Leo and YQ, right? So besides all these specific like roll-ups, layer 2s, I think you guys are sort of like laying the foundation and provide the support and make the ecosystem like more vibrant and more like user-friendly so that people can come. So the next question is, from your guys' perspective, what are the pricing needs for the current layer 2 landscape? So maybe Leo, you can start first.
I see. Yeah, so like since like SciSix focus is mainly on the hardware acceleration for ZKP, so like the pressing need from our perspective, first of all, is we try to make the proof as fast as possible. Like in the past year, we just get maybe 2 or 3 order of magnitude faster than all the current CPU implementation. Yeah, so that's for one thing. The second thing is like, if you have the fastest program to run, then you still need to figure out the scarce computing resource. Like you need to say, like probably like we can use the previous like GPUs like for Ethereum mining to join the ZK proof generation. Yeah, so in ZK proof generation, actually you don't need a very powerful GPU such as like H100 or A100. You just need some commercial GPU to join, such as 3090 or 4090 GPU cards. They are suffice to generate the ZK proof like very fast. Yeah, so those are 2 things like we are working right now. The first is the CUDA program for the proof generation. The second is to secure the GPU cards for the ZK whole ecosystem.
Thank you. YQ.
Yeah, on our side, based on like, since we are serving like over 30 projects, right? A lot of them are very big ones. For example, last week we launched a rollup for a very big gaming project called Exterior. And based on all these customers and also partners' feedback, right? We feel like at this stage, since most of the rollup stack is quite stable and mature, for example, OP or Arbitrum Orbit or even Polygon CDK. So either it's optimistic rollup or it's a ZK rollup, right? Based on this feedback and also the experience, it's really about customization right now. So almost for every partner or customer, they typically ask all different demands on the customization. None of them like just do let's click a few buttons via our website and then launch at midnight. All of them, they all have these different customization like requests. For example, some of them, as I just mentioned, right, they want their like sort of token as the gas token, and some of them they want the staking feature, and some of them like they want like not just one DA solution, they want multiple DA solutions to further secure their rollup. And so that's something I believe probably for the next 1 or 2 years, since we will see a lot of like these application-specific rollups, either for games and social, DeFi, even for some of these BTC L2, right? We will see all different customization requirements for all the different rollups. And beyond that, granularly, for a lot of the rollouts, since for most of rollout at this moment, they're single sequencer, right? And for all the rollout stacks. So people want some decentralization on it. So that's why, like, based on these demands or requests, we are working closely with Eigen and to provide this decentralized verification and sequencing network to decentralized and secure this kind of single sequencer network. So these are the real demands from a lot of these customers and partners. I believe, like in my talk yesterday, right, I mentioned like probably by the end of this year, we will have over 1,000 rollups in the market. But it definitely, I feel like there's so much diversity for all the different rollups, especially different demands. I don't think it will just converge into one type. But then based on all the demands, I believe there's still a lot of challenges and opportunities for the next at least 2 years or 4 years for like all the panelists to address. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. So since YQ brought up the topic about sequencers or sequencings, right? That's definitely a hot topic right now. So I think everyone is trying to sort of like figuring out how to decentralize the sequencers, how to balance like the performance and the decentralization. So what maybe you can tell us a little bit more about the current challenges, and is there any specific like focus or any ideas on how to address, the sequencer issue? Maybe we'll start with YQ since you brought it up.
Yeah, so we're working with, as a rollup provider, right? We're working with almost all the existing shared sequencer providers like Espresso, Radius, and some other ones. The fun thing is that for most of the partners we work with from this gaming, social, and DeFi, none of them want this shared sequencer at this stage. Of course, one thing like because they don't really have the mainnet ready yet. The second thing is really about the latency. Because like once you have a shared sequencing network, right, you need to run a group of nodes, like probably over 100 or a few hundred nodes, right? So in that case, it's not as straightforward to really have like low latency. Typically, you have minimum 2 to 10 seconds or even like a few minutes to finalize some block for the different sequencers. So in that case, for some specific sectors like gaming or social, or even this kind of DeFi perp L2s, they just couldn't like use this kind of shared sequencer sort of network because their requirement for latency is sub-second. So by default, like it's sort of like they just couldn't use the shared sequencer network. And beyond that, I think another biggest selling point for shared sequencer network is that you need to provide the interoperability for all the sequencer, all the rollups. You basically help them to do the sequencing, right? And the challenge is that if you really want to do this interoperability across different rollups, right, you have to lock one rollup to make sure like you finish like sort of the sequencing or block generation for another rollup. So in that case, somehow you probably become the blocker for different rollups if you really want to achieve this interoperability. So that's why I feel like even right now, there's so many like concepts and projects working on this direction, but still there are some fundamental problems we need to address before we push all these shared sequencing network to the market. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a hard problem to solve. So Liana, what do you think?
So shared sequencer, maybe the mainstream of the shared sequencer is a base rollup in another name, L1 sequence. Basically, they're sharing the same vision. And the base rollup on L1 sequencing let me explain about this. So basically, rollups are posting a lot of transaction data on-chain, layer 1. And so, basically, the transaction data can be on-chain. And in typical layer 2s, sequencer or the block producers it's kind of limited to one network or something like that. And shared sequencer or L1 sequence or base rollup is combining the layer 1 validators, block producer, to a layer 2 block producer. No, we can do this because the transaction should be on chain, right? So the validators, block producers of layer 1 POS validators do both sequencing transaction for layer 1 and layer 2 at the same time. It solves a lot of problems like kind of fragmentation, the liquidity fragmentation of layer 2s, and also the solving the MEV problem, the front-running problem in DeFi's. And so it's a quite strong solution. So I think it's really great. So it's making a lot of rollups to integrate a lot of rollups to one big rollup. So that's the vision of the base rollup, and basically the share sequencer is having the same purpose. And the problem of this great idea is not the technical problem, actually. The problem is that kind of what we call misalignment. So there are a lot of advocates and supporters of shared sequencers under base rollups, but there are some opponents to that. And basically, this is because it's a misalignment of the layer 2 and Ethereum ecosystem, and also the problems of sovereignty. Their opponents are saying that they want their sovereignty to decide their own system, decide things about their own system, and how to choose the validators, how to reward the validators, and how to sequence the validators, and how to deal with the MEV profit. And so layer 2 makers they want their sovereignty. Community want to have a sovereignty, and but their shared sequencer is the best for the whole layer 1 Ethereum ecosystem. So it's kind of misalignment between the layer 2 and the layer 1. Of course, the layer 2 token holders, like investors and their builders, they want to outperform Ether with that token, right? So otherwise, they don't have any reason to choose the layer 2 token instead of Ether, right? So the layer 2 advocates or layer 2 are kind of supporters, want to outperform Ether. So this is I think this is the source of the misalignment, and so there's no technical problem in shared sequencer. It's just, I don't think there's no big problem in shared sequencer in a technical way, but there's a kind of humanity problem or kind of human relationship problem, or what we call misalignment. So I think it takes time, but I hope that the whole Ethereum ecosystem fix this problem or misalignment and make a kind of greater united ecosystem without the unfair MEV or the layer 2 fragmentation.
Okay, got it. Tom, what do you think?
Yeah, I think some of the challenges that was mentioned, as in latency, is a key thing that when we implemented our decentralized sequencer pool, we had to face. How do we offset this? We batch the orders, transactions, and such. But going back to what was just shared here, it's the alignment of the ecosystem. Us as Metis, we use the Metis asset as transaction, gas fees, governance, as well as security for the network. I think from our take on it is there's still a lot of challenges, as was mentioned earlier before with the alt layer. They said, in theory, it's great. Some of the teams are doing some amazing research. Testnet's been amazing for some of these projects. But I think, how do you apply it? And I think we're still not in that phase where how do we apply shared sequencing. We see that as valuable to the market as an option for different protocols, different network as well. For us at Metis, we feel like the decentralized pool is where we're at now, and we've been able to execute that and rolling out the different phases. So in terms of challenges, I think is how do you sync all these sequencer? How do you keep them in line? The more integration, the more parties you apply and layer on, the more challenges and things that can go wrong. But I think the teams will definitely solve that. But I think that's one of the biggest challenges right now in that space.
So Ben, what do you think?
I think it's a very interesting topic talking about shared sequences. On Tyco, we don't actually have that issue because we are a based rollup. So that basically means that we use the L1 Ethereum proposers and sequencing from directly from Ethereum. It also means that all of the MEV that is created flows back to all of the block proposers. Now, in terms of being a base rollup, that also has its own set of criteria as well. So, you know, we talked previously, mentioned that there are certain latency delays, for example, 12 seconds. So, for example, if you're proposing a block and it's on L2 and the proposers are not talking to each other or don't see each other, within those 12 seconds, if anybody else proposes a block, then potentially you're wasting resources and money in proposing the same sort of information. So what we try to do here is we try to utilize things like pre-confirmations. And with the use of pre-confirmation, you can actually identify and propose an L2 block using the L1 state. So these are ways that we're looking at going forward to mitigate the differences and latency actions from sequencing.
Got it. Yeah, I think that's an interesting approach. So maybe we move on to the future trends for layer 2s. So there's a trending topic recently about, about layer 3, whether layer 3 makes sense or not. So what do you guys think? Like, do we need a layer 3 on top of layer 2? Or, if we need, what should be the purpose of the layer 3? Is it for the scaling purpose or is it for like other purposes? Maybe we'll go with Angel first.
Yeah, I think the best recent example of layer 3 is probably degen. And, it's like the coin's doing great. It's at, I believe, currently 1.5 billion FDV now. But I think at the same time, it's like taking a bunch of liquidity on the base chain to their own chain. And therefore, kind of like not like in the great benefit of other base projects. But I do think there could be use cases for layer 3s. For example, if we want to work with some like traditional big corporations, they want to have their corporate chain or something, I think layer 3 could be great. And yeah, so there's like pros and cons, I would say. And we're definitely still like experimenting in that landscape right now. But yeah, degen's probably a fun experiment.
Yeah, interesting. YQ, what do you think?
We've already launched like 2 gaming L3s, like settled on Arbitrum 1. So I believe like for games, if they really want to enjoy the best like throughput and also much lower gas cost, L3 definitely is sort of like the balanced solution at this stage. And we're also going to launch another L3 for DeFi, like sort of like this perp or something. It's really like because like the bottleneck for a lot of these projects right now, if they have a lot of users, right, it's really about the throughput and also the gas fee. Even for OP Arbitrum right now, the gas fee is lower than 1 cent. But right, a lot of the projects, they want something much lower than that because they want to capture probably some Web2 users, especially for games, right? The combination will be like much lower gas cost plus account abstraction. So in that case, like users don't really need to create a MetaMask wallet or whatever, and they will directly use in-game like sort of wallet, and the user don't really need to create like sort of the key pair for it. But the underlying infrastructure is L3, like basically still blockchain infrastructure. So I think it's sort of like really depends on the demands from these applications. If they really want super low gas cost and super high throughput, L3 definitely is a very good solution for them. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Leo, what do you think?
Yeah, so first of all, I'm not an expert on the layer 3s. Yeah, but as the previous speaker said, like if you want some like more control on the chain, probably have like higher throughput, lower gas cost, then probably you can like build a layer chain, a layer 3 chain specific to your application. So in that sense, like you can have more control on your chain, and you can like tailor the chain to your needs. So yeah, so in that like special case, probably like layer 3 is a trend. Yeah.
Liana?
Layer 3 is different needed because the blob has a limit. As I said, blob is limited in the future, and people will compete to use that. And the layer 3 can kind of avoid that limitation. And I think the layer 3 will like more app specific, like Leo said, and yeah, people will build a roll-up stuff kind of customized for special use cases, and it's unlike the general layer 2 EVM compatible layer stuffs.
Ben?
So on Tycho, we developed on a previous testnet, Tycho on Tycho, which was an actual layer 3. And what we found as part of that is that it didn't really make sense for an Ethereum equivalent protocol to have a layer 3 because it would create some kind of congestion if we wanted to maintain the decentralization and all of those good things. However, that doesn't mean that it doesn't make sense, because for app-specific activities, that would be a real bonus, because you can think of it as speeding up a specific application like gaming. It will have its definite use cases there. It will lower transaction cost. It will also speed up the actual transactions as well. Now, in relation to that, there is an actual trade-off there, and the trade-off would be more centralization, because to remove the congestion that we mentioned, you would have a more dedicated sequencing and proposing. So that would be the actual trade-off in that sort of sense.
Yeah, I see. Okay, Tom, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with most of the panelists here. I think gaming is a huge sector that will definitely benefit from the layer 3 side. We're definitely exploring that. I mean, not us, but in general, the industry is. So, and the industry hasn't really adopted gaming to its fullest potential. So, to prepare for the future, I think this, and some of the games and some of the gaming networks are already building on top of layer 3s. So, I think that's one of the driving factor that will really push the utility and the need for this.
Yes, I see. So finally, maybe you guys can list like a 1 or 2 or 3 like priorities for layer 2s today. Maybe we'll start with Tom.
Yeah, 2 or 3 priorities. I think the key 2 or 3 for me would and Metis would be accessibility, continue of the decentralization of the network as well, and yeah, I think those are the top things that come to mind at the moment.
Ben.
Yeah, I think the top items from, I think the learnings from this panel will be that we definitely need decentralization, and we definitely need to maintain the core ethos of Ethereum, which is, builders and security, and making sure that from an infrastructure perspective, we maintain the core principles.
Yes.
Yeah, with these partners, I convinced the layer 2 of the future. And also, yeah, we need the statelessness for scaling the layer 2 ecosystem more than before. Yeah, that's my opinion.
Okay, Leo.
Yeah, so I guess like from SciSec's perspective, we also want to emphasize decentralization is a key, but it might seem a little bit strange for hardware company to say something like this. Yeah, but we will have some like products like the ZK accelerator as small as an iPad charger, but still be much powerful than a GPU card. Yeah, so yeah, it will be in the market probably next soon.
Yeah, like you.
The first one is I think we need more this kind of customization with better modularity. Then for more and more these application demands, right? So we can provide better sort of solutions for these protocols or applications. The second thing is, of course, it's about the decentralization of the entire rollup stack, because it's not just for decentralization of the sequencing. It's also about like the decentralization of the prover, proposer, batcher, or different roles in the entire rollup stack. We should really decouple the L2 or all these rollup into multiple different components, and then have better decentralization for every different components. Yeah.
Yeah, and Joe.
Yeah, I think we have many rollups building today, and we'll continue to have many, many more. And overall, it's not a zero-sum game. I think it's important for like L2s to know that we can also like work together, and also the rollup experimentation is not only happening in the Ethereum ecosystem. We're not also seeing it happening in like with Bitcoin. And so we're kind of like, the Ethereum rollups, we're kind of like on the frontier of pioneering the rollup technology, the designs, and all the infrastructure setups. And so like there will be, different rollups to tailor to different market needs. And I think, we're still early, and for there are also still a lot of problems to think of, like we discussed today. Share sequencer and like how to bring gas fees lower. So I think in general, I would say like more collaboration and more discussion. Yeah.
Yeah, totally makes sense. I'll probably add my comments to this question as well. So I think interoperability is super important. Right now, I think like it's sort of like fragmented. Everyone is trying their own like different approach. I think there should be like more collaboration, and the users shouldn't suffer from this fragmentation, right? They should view like a rollup as sort of like a one ecosystem. That's from my perspective. The second is still the gas cost, right? So I think that's the sort of like the number one issue or the number two issue that from like blocking the users, especially the new users coming to the Web3 space, right? So I think that's the second priority. I think the third priority is the decentralization, as everyone talk about it. But I think decentralization is, we will spend some time on figuring out how to decentralize like different components. But like I'm a big believer in Vitalik rollup-centric mode, and I think eventually we will get there. So thanks a lot for everyone for sharing the insights, and thanks to our audience for your time. And it's a wonderful conversation with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.